Hi, my name's Linda Britton. I craft in Phoenix, Arizona. Today we are learning how to make and recycle a little girl's denim skirt, and you make it into a usable item, a purse. You have just seen some of the pictures of the denim purse, and here is a prime example of a finished purse. And now we're going to go through the process of how to make one. Before we do that, we have to go through the list of needed supplies. First, you're going to want to get yourself a little girl's denim skirt. You may already have one if you have a little girl, but if you don't, you can go to a second-hand store, and they usually have some nice ones available. In Phoenix, my favorite second-hand store is Savers, and this is how they label this particular one I just bought, and it was $3.99. They go from $1.99 up to $4.99, and what you're looking for is a skirt that is not too small at the top. This one is about a size 5, I think. It's also nice to have a pre-decoration on here. There's a real cute one here. You want to look for usable pockets so you can actually use them when you're using your purse. For most people, the bigger the pockets, the better. You need to look for the fact that sometimes if this embroidered design is up here, it's going to make this pocket useless. And some of them are just on there for decoration and don't open whatsoever. They come in different designs sometimes, or colors. It doesn't have to be the blue denim. This is a flower green, very cute. Okay, you'll also need some fabrics for the lining of your bag and for the handles and for the pockets. We're going to put some pockets in the interior also. You're going to need some cotton thread. You can match it to the colors, or it could be contrasting. You're going to need some dressmaker scissors. Dressmaker just means they're good and sharp, and you only use them on fabric. You don't use them on your other crafts because that will dull them. You need a sewing machine. Mine's right behind me. You're going to need some ribbon, and that is the accent when you're all done. This one just happens to be red, and you can change that whenever you want. You're probably going to need some extra needles, and the needles that I recommend are the ones that actually tell you they're for denim fabrics, which is generally pretty thick. Comes in all different thicknesses, but as you see by this package, I've used them all up but one. So every once in a while you're going to break one, and you don't want to be without an extra. The other thing that you're going to need as you go along is a yardstick, and possibly one of the smaller rulers that you usually find in a sewing kit. You'll also need some straight pins, dressmaker straight pins. Okay, we're ready to get going on how to put it all together. I already described to you what to look for when you go to buy your skirt. One other helpful hint is a lot of them have ruffles at the bottom or anywhere on the little girl skirt. Those aren't going to work. So don't buy a skirt with little ruffles, even though they're cute. Okay, the preparation of your denim skirt is when you bring it home, you're going to take off the label, and you're going to wash it and dry it. You want it nice and clean. The next thing is most of these little ones have an adjustment to adjust them for the waist of the little girl, and you don't need that. So you're going to, it's got buttonholes on it, and you button it to adjust it. What you're going to do is unbutton it, take the buttons off, save them for other crafting. You're going to pull this elastic as taut as you can. You want to get it all out of there because it's just not needed. Cut it off with your scissor, and maybe you can get some more out when you pull the other way, but you want to get that out of there. Okay, this is now ready to be made into a purse. The other thing is, you're going to look through your fabrics to find something that matches. So ideally this could be a light blue fabric or the pink, and I have looked through my pink stash of fabrics, and you might have to go buy some, but it's a pretty small piece because it's just this, as big as the skirt, doubled, and that's pretty small. But if you want to just go to the store and buy yourself a yard of fabric, you'll have some left for your next project. I have picked this shade for the handle. You don't want to get fabric that's rough or too thick for the handle because you're handling it and it's rough on your hands. So get a nice smooth fabric for the handles. And the other thing that you're going to need is a little bit of fabric for the pockets of the interior, and it's best to have them contrast the fabric you've chosen, so when you look down in your purse you can see where the pocket is located. Those are just little hints. Okay, so here is a clean little girl skirt, and the first thing I did was, as in this one, turn it inside out and sew right along the bottom. There is a seam right along the bottom, so now this is already what you could call a pocket, a big old pocket. And if you have something like this along the bottom, it isn't going to matter because nobody's going to see it. You're always holding your purse this way or setting it on the ground or whatever. Okay, so as you see, besides just a seam across here, I also did the little corners, and what that does is it makes the purse so it sits up, so it has a bottom to it. And I'll show you how to do that very quickly. It's really quite easy. You take the corner and you fold it. You're putting these two seams together, the seam there, the seam along the bottom. You line those up and then you sew this. You measure in 2 inches and you sew right along there. And what it looks like when you're done is this. Very easy. You don't have to do that, but it gives the purse a nice bottom. You can also choose to do that on the lining, and you don't have to at the same thing. Same decision on that. Okay, so I'm going to show you the pockets real quick because, okay, cutting the fabric for the purse is as simple as taking your fabric, I already cut these, but taking your fabric and cutting it so it's a little bit bigger on the sides, so you got room to work with, and a little bit bigger than the top, and this is going to work perfectly inside of this bag. This is the fabric I've chosen. I am using a different blue for the pockets, and the way that you work the pockets is you decide how big you want your pockets. This is doubled and already sewn, and when you're done sewing it, you turn it inside out and iron it, just like this one. This one's ready to sew on the machine, and you can see here that I've got it all pinned and ready to go. This one will be on the other side of the interior of the pocket. And when I attached that, I was using my iron, and I ironed this down and pinned it, so that's going to be the base of your pocket. You don't have to do an extra hem or anything. It's going to attach by sewing. So you're going to sew along one edge, across the bottom, and up this side, and you can leave it as one big pocket, or then you could sew right down the middle and have two pockets for like eyeglasses. This is what I'm going to do with this one. Is it's going to be two small pockets for my car keys and stuff like that, and you don't want them in a deep pocket. You want to be able to find them quickly. So on this one, sew along the edge, across the bottom, up this side, and then down the middle, and you've got two small pockets so you don't lose stuff in your purse later on. Okay, so that is attaching pockets. When you're ready to, oh, we've got to do the handle. I almost skipped that. This is what the handle for this particular case or purse looks like. It's going to match very nicely. And this is what it looks like. But I'm going to demonstrate right now exactly how to do that. We're going to talk handles now, and as you see, here's two different handles. I mentioned this before, but you want a fabric. I use cotton that is soft to the touch, and there's a little bit of difference in these two handles. One being it's got 2 stitch lines to hold it together. This one has 4, and that's totally up to you. Also, these are contrasting where you might want matching. And this is one I have finished that is so matching that you can't even see it, but it has 4 stitch lines on it to keep it together. This is the one we're going to use in just a minute to show you the process of putting everything together and finishing your purse. The way that you do the handle is you need a piece of fabric that we have laying out right here, 44 inches by 6, and that's what you use your ruler for, your yardstick, 44 inches, and that is the size that I like. You can go longer or shorter, depends on the person, depends on if you want it a shoulder bag or just hanging onto it, whatever. Be creative with that. It's 6 inches wide, and that's the exact same measurement for this. You'll see in just a minute how it goes together. This is what it looks like before it's sewn, and I'm going to show you how it came to be. And this is quite easy, fun, and gets rid of all your little edges of the fabric. Like here you've got, you know, some little strings hanging out. You don't have to worry about that at all, because what you do is you take one side of the fabric, fold it halfway in, and I don't measure this, I just eyeball it. And here comes your hot iron, and I put some water in here so it's steamy, and it gives it a very good finished edge. So that's one side ironed in, and now go to the other side, fold that side halfway in, and what I mean by halfway is the edge of the fabric is in the center of your 6 inches long of fabric, and you do this all the way down, and it actually goes pretty quick. And when you're done, turning this hot thing off, it's hot enough here in Phoenix. When you're done, it looks exactly like this. Then you keep that fold, that's the width of it, and then you're going to sit at your sewing machine and decide how many rows of stitchery you would like. 2, one on either side, is enough. I did 4 here just for, you know, safety's sake, and I wanted to. Okay. This, you have, when you finish sewing this, you have both handles. You are probably thinking, one handle, that would be awfully long. Yes, you do them both at the same time, and then you cut this long handle in half, and that means each one of these is 22 inches because it was 44. Okay, now we're taking all the fundamentals that we've talked about in the last few minutes and we're putting them together, and it will be a finished purse. Okay, so this is the hemmed Levi skirt. I'm turning it right side out. I've got my liner. Very beautiful. I like this so much, this might end up being my purse. Okay, before we pin in the liner with our straight pins, we need to situate our straps. The very first time I did this project, I did the straps after, and it's much better if you do this before. Okay, an easy way to line up the straps is simply by lining them up with the belt loops that are already here. And you want to have a little bit of the fabric below, I'd say a ½ inch or so. You're going to be stitching it all together right on this stitch that's already there, the very tip, and the tricky part is going around the belt loops, and that's where you might break a needle. Sorry to say, but that happens and life goes on. Okay, so you're pinning it so the sharp end of the pin is going towards the edge where you're going to sew. So you could literally leave the pin in and sew across it. I don't do that too often because every once in a while it gets hit and then you totally have a broken needle. Okay, the other side is here. This is the front handle. I'm liking the way this matches up with the, this is a very worn looking denim and I like it a lot. So a nice shade of light blue. Okay, and the back one, you can line it up also. If anything like this bothers you, a tag of some type, you can take that off of there. I think it looks pretty good myself. So I'm going to line up the back handle with the front handle that's already pinned in. Just make sure you don't stab yourself. It will hurt. It's a little bit thicker where that label is. That might be one reason why you want to take it off, but I'm leaving it. Oops. Okay, the handle is pinned into position. You might want to check for length. If it's too long, you could, you know, put some more, another inch or so in the inside, but that's looking pretty good to me. Now, you're going to take your liner and you're putting the the side that you're not going to see is the side that's facing the interior of the purse. So make sure your pockets are visible, and all you're going to do at this point is you're going to line up your lining with the edge and you're going to pin it all the way around. As you see right here, this was a little big, and so I just made a little adjustment there with a little tacking it in like that, and that will work out just fine. So you go around, and it's at this point it's up to you whether you want the lining to stick out so people can see it, or if you want to hide it. You can go either direction on that. So you're going to pin all the way around. Straight pin is sticking out towards the top, so you can literally sew on it if you want. Okay, and we're almost done. Just one little hint here. The way I start is I unbutton and unzip it and start sewing right here, and then you're going to go all the way around. You're going to buckle this back up, and you're going to stop sewing it about there. So when you're all done, you are done with your purse. A cute fact is that there is now a big space in between the lining and the outside, and so this could be a place to hide, a secret compartment to hide something. I've never done that, but it's doable. So if you're on a vacation, you want to hide something like money, you could. So this is pretty much the way this is going to look when it's done. I sell these at craft sales for $15, which my husband says is highway robbery, but that's okay. A lot of people get enjoyment out of them, and I enjoy making them. This has been your instructive class on how to reuse a denim little girl skirt. Have a great day. Hope you make one.